Now I'm going to discuss Shari'a standard number 5. This standard is related to guarantees. We will discuss what is the scope of this standard, what are the general rulings on guarantees, what is the personal guarantee, what is the pledge, bringing forward future installments in case of default on payments, termination of a sale on deferred payment terms in case of failure to pay, guarantees and their modern practice applications, which date this standard was issued and when it was applied. We'll start our discussion. The aim of this standard is to outline the Sharia rules related to guarantees, that what guarantees are permissible and which guarantees are prohibited. We are going to discuss in detail. In terms of scope, this standard deals with guarantees that are intended to secure obligation and protect amount of debts. So when it comes to suppose we are two friends and one friend want a loan from another friend. Now generally we can give loan if we trust. So trust is like a guarantee. But sometimes if we don't know each other and there is no relation of trust, then we want some material item to be taken as a cushion or a guarantee that in case if I don't pay to my friend, I have a guarantee behind this. This is the concept of guarantee. Guarantee in conventional finance can be anything. You can mortgage or pledge your home, your stocks, your property, plant, your equipment, and any other kind of assets you can give it. But in terms of Sharia, we are going to discuss what is prohibited and what is permissible. We can give the written documents, guarantees, attestation, personal guarantees, pledges, checks, and promissory note. The scope of this standard is also deal with the distinction between recoverable liability, that is we call as debts, and they are absolutely payable, either being contractually created or because unjust enrichment has given rise to a liability for restitution, or and liability is held on trust basis, obligations that are not subject to compensation for any losses except in the case of misconduct, negligence or violence, violation of the conditions agreed upon as a policies. Just want to mention that it's important to mention here that this standard does not deal with compensatory liability for the destruction of property and any kind of criminal act. Let's discuss the general ruling on these guarantees, legitimacy of guarantees and their relevance to the contract. A contract of guarantee is permissible in contrast of exchange, that is a contract of sale or a contract of right of intellectual property. So first of all, we should be very clear that anything is permissible which is permissible through a trading activity, which is different type of forms we saw, mudarba, Shari'a, ijari. So this is the base. Base is what is how we protect ourselves. So as in the shape of guarantee. There is no objection in Sharia to include a number of guarantees in one contract. It can be a multiple guarantee. We can have personal guarantee. We have other guarantees combined in a contract that is permissible. Guarantees in trust, fiduciary contracts, like where there is a relation of trust. It's not permissible to stipulate in trust contract, agency contract or contract of deposit that a personal guarantee or a pledge of security be produced, because such a stipulation is against the nature of the trust fiduciary contract unless such a stipulation is intended to cover cases of misconduct, negligence or a breach of contract. So sometimes logically for having just to secure yourself in case if there is a misconduct, negligence, then you put some guarantee to make things serious about the working and the type of organization. Otherwise it's not permissible in general. Prohibition against seeking a guarantee in trust contract is more stringent in Shari'a and Mudaraba, since it's not permitted to require a manager in the Mudaraba or Musharaka contract or an investment agent or one of the partner in these contracts to guarantee the capital. So this is already we have discussed in when we discuss Mudaraba and Musharaka, who can bring capital, who will not bring capital, Mudarib rules, he will not be having money injections. These all things we have discussed before. It's not permissible to combine agency and personal guarantees in one contract at the same time, the same party acting in capacity of an agent and on one hand and acting as a guarantor on the other hand. In this situation, it's not permissible. Guarantees for existing leased properties. Lessor bears the risk associated with the leased property and the lessee hold it on the trust basis. Hence, it's not permissible for a lessor to stipulate in the lease contract that the lessee provide a guarantee or pledge of security. Same like we should have written documentation and attestation. Documentation in writing is recommended, of course, by Shari'a as per the hadith of Holy Prophet that whenever we do something, we should write it. Even it's good to have witnesses over it, so it will be more crystallized and proceduralized. However, sometimes we have verbal commitments which may work case to case. Attestation in financial transaction is recommended by Sharia. On the other hand, perjury is prohibited and is one of the major sins. It's not permitted to scribe or witness act prohibited by Sharia, such as certifying or witnesses borrowing on the basis of interest. Wherever interest is involved, we as the Islamic Institute should save ourselves from it with its full spirit and full devotion. Personal guarantees. Let's discuss a little bit about personal guarantees, what is legitimate and what are the types of personal guarantees we have. It's permissible for an institute to stipulate a customer should provide one or more guarantees to secure the debts. Because secured, unsecured investment is always a discussion that some asset which is backed by credibility is of course is unsecured, and when the concept to the guarantee, this is a secured mode of investment. Personal guarantees are divided in two types. One type is the guarantee where the guarantor has a right to recourse to the debtor, and the guarantee is offered at the request or with the consent of the debtor itself. The other type is non-recourse guarantee, which is offered voluntarily by a third party without the debtor's request or consent. That is a voluntarily guarantees. Sometimes we have recurring and sometimes it's one time, so based on the situation. An institution is not entitled to guarantee financial commitments without a right of recourse to the debtors. Moreover, it is permissible to fix the duration of a personal guarantee, so it is also permissible to set a ceiling on the amount to be guaranteed. It is permissible that the personal guarantee be restricted by or contingent upon a condition. So we can say if this and then this is permissible, of course. This is not permissible to take any remuneration whatsoever or providing a personal guarantee. This is not Islamic. And the guarantor is, however, entitled to claim any expenses actually incurred during the period of a personal guarantee, and of course the institution is not obliged to inquire as to how the guarantee produced has been obtained by the customer. This is not their concern.